Hello everyone, my name is Safa1. I am going to be teaching you how to make a song from scratch on the Deluge. I'm not going to be deep diving into all of the settings on the Deluge because there is quite a few and that would be a very long video. This video is more of a how to process, like how to do a process workflow of making a beat from scratch, and then everything from arranging, mixing, a little bit of light mastering, and getting it ready for playing live, potentially, if that's what you would like to do. I use the Deluge for playing live, but I've had the Deluge for since 2018, so it's been quite a long time, and I've played live with it in venues quite a few times, almost like twice a year or more, sometimes more. So yeah, let's get started. So what I like to do first is have the unit turned on. This is the blank page. If you want to load a completely blank page again, hold down Shift, press load, and then it will prompt you to press load or back. You can press load, and now it's completely blank. I apologize in advance for it's faded. I'm sorry about that, but it's been a long time since I've had this unit, like I said, and it's a little bit worn out. Okay, so now what I like to do, the most important thing is your tempo. So it starts off at 120. If you are making house and techno, generally 100 BPM to 140 BPM is used, but it is a personal preference. I'm going to keep it I'm going to make it at 126 BPM. And I'm going to try to make a deep house kind of style, tech house kind of vibe. Next thing that I like to do, I like to start off with drums. So I would hold Shift and then Kit. That will bring you to if you have an SD card plugged in, your SD card. And now you can choose your folders, and I have folders within folders. So if I go to drums, I'll have a different folder, different folders in drums. Now I go to deep house drums, yes. BD kick, so bass drum, I guess that's what it means. So let's choose a kick drum. So sound selection is very important when you are creating certain genres in electronic music, whether it's house techno, dubstep, hip hop, based beats, and so on and so forth. I like to try and keep it as simple and I like my drums to be heavier usually and more bassy, so I choose accordingly. Now what I like to do is hold Shift and with this knob right here, the top left, create a 8-bar loop sequence. So now what I like to do is cross screen, that way it will, when I press one of the sequences here, it will translate to each and every other bar. So let's go ahead and do that on all fours. Now I take that off, and what I like to do is add a little bit more elements here and there, like double kick. So yeah, that's how I like to give like variations of the kick drum, essentially. You'll notice here it's a cutoff and resonance. So I actually like to give a bit of cutoff to take away some of that higher end frequency in the kick drum. Yeah, just about there. And now I get out of track view and go to song, and you'll notice that there's other tracks here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose another track. Hold shift, kit. I like to have all of my elements separated for drums and for melody, bass line, and stuff like that. It just makes it easier for me to control each element that way. So now I'm going to go ahead and give a clap. I like this one. So you can also hold shift and press this button down, and it will extend the length twice, or once, I guess. If you hold it down again, it will do it again. So when we're in 16ths, you can see like the bar that you're working in. That makes it so it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you extend out, sorry, you don't have to hold shift when you're doing that actually. So this is an 8-bar loop. To get out and see the whole thing, you click and hold this. Now we're in 18ths, now we're in 4ths, seconds, and you can see the entire sequence. So we can go back to 16th. We can even get closer and closer. 128, 16, 64th, 32nd. But 16th, I like to work in that unless I'm doing like very detail oriented, like hi-hats, like triple time, triplets and stuff like that. So I'm just going to switch some of the claps and make them come in like one step earlier. Give it more variation that way. I also like to go into attack and release and give a bit of a release. You can also use delay to widen the sound a little bit if you give a very fast delay. Like almost all the way up. And some reverb as well. And let's go to small. So when you click this, it changes the type of reverb. Same with the delay. If I click this, it will change the type of delay. I like that right there. Now, also, while I'm creating a track, I like to gain stage as much as possible and mix the overall sounds according to each other. So let's go ahead and turn this down a little bit. Let's go to song and create a new sequence. So kit, hats. So what I just did was I added a hat and I put it on every single note, turned it down a little bit, and put the release up. That way it shortens the release time. And that's a trick that I learned by just experimenting, basically. You can also put some automation. I like to do this as well. So I'll hold on to one of these like notes that I put in and then turn the volume down on it And then I like to do it on every other one. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, it's nice to have a little bit of variation in this hi-hat sequence, like the volume going up and down. You can also pitch it down or transpose. So I'll hold shift and click on transpose. As you can see, it says transpose here. It might not show that clearly actually, but let's put it down to -2. Now let's go back to song view. Click and hold your hi-hat sequence and turn the volume down. We can also, when I went back into the hi-hats sequence and go to cutoff. Now when I press this golden knob down, it will say high pass filter. So if we turn that up, it will take away all of the lower frequencies, the unwanted ones. And if you click again, you can see EQ. So this is low pass, high pass, and EQ. So the bass frequencies are on the lower golden knob, and the high frequencies are on the higher golden knob. So we can adjust those frequencies, as you can hear. Let's turn that back up a little bit. Just like that. Okay, so now that we have a kick, clap, and hi-hat, what I'm going to do is add a bass line. Click a new track, hold shift, and press synth. That way it starts from 0, like from scratch. I have a lot of different sounds on here, so if you click on keyboard mode, this is the TAL. I downloaded like some presets, but instead I'm going to go backwards into the other higher numbers and choose, let's go lower. So these two knobs, this one will go lower an octave, and this one just goes slightly higher and higher in octaves. I like this sound, but I'm going to take away some of the reverb. Okay, so let's play back the track. And this is where I like to improvise. And by improvising, I'm just playing along with the beat and trying to come up with a sequence, essentially. So we can also change the scale. If we hold shift and press scale, it's in minor, Dorian, yeah, so like you can go back to the major scale this way as well. I'm going to just keep it at the major scale, and I'm just going to press on record and press play. It will record as long as I keep playing and don't press record. It will keep recording as long as I want, basically. So you can have an endless amount of bars, essentially. So here we go. And I think that was a 4-bar loop. Yeah. So do is a little bit of sound design, and I'm going to add some saturation to this. It kind of boosts up the bass line a little bit. Also, I'm going to go to sidechain and turn this up. I don't think it's actually doing anything, so oops. So I have to go back to my kick drum, make sure that the send here is all the way up. Yes, it is. So if I go all the way down, you can hear that it's not pumping, giving that pumping sound anymore. But now that it's at 50, it's giving that pumping sound for the bass line. Let's put this all the way up so you can hear drastically. Let's take away the clap and the hi-hats. Now let's take away the bass, the kick drum. You can hear that there's no pumping now, but if we bring back the kick drum, then you can hear the pumping sound for that's sidechain compression, or essentially. This is probably the simplest way I've seen how to do sidechain in almost any device. So I like it. I'm going to add a little bit of reverb to the hi-hats and delay. Give it a little bit more sauce. Now what I'm going to do next is add a melodic element. If you just click the highlighted in color button or pads, then you'll always be in key. I kind of like that sequence right there, so I'm gonna go ahead and record that. Something like that. Let's get out of the keyboard mode, that way we can see our sequence and make adjustments as we please. So it's at 9 bars, so let's put that back to 8 bars. I'm going to change these notes right here. So I kind of just shifted them up a few octaves, a few notes. There we go. To do, since I've got basically a little sandwich here, when I like to call it a sandwich because I'm basically creating this like loop of elements like like drums, bass line, melody, and to me it just looks like a sandwich. So I like to save. You can name whatever You can name it whatever you like, but I just like to save to the next song or the next number present. And that way I have it locked in the memory. So now what I like to do is add another melodic element, maybe like some strings or another like synth style stuff. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and go to cutoff and take away some of the take away some of the bassy lower frequencies. So I put a little high pass and go to EQ and turn down that bass frequency a little bit. I can also turn this down a little bit. I think that's right there is good enough. Yeah, it's at 50, 46. Now let's add another track. So new track. I kind of like this sound. Let's put some reverb, delay and reverb on it, and then take away some of the lower frequencies again. Even some of the high frequencies. That. Okay, let's make it back to put it back to an 8-bar loop, because I always kind of click record just one bar over. And let's listen back. Elements as well to this track. So let's go ahead and add some percussive elements. So percussion, yes. percussion, I don't mind adding it into the same group. So let's go ahead and add some more. That way it's easier to control the overall sounds of one element, like the percussion. If you hold Shift and click on any of these mutes and unmutes, you can bring them in and out as you please. That way you don't have to wait for it to end its bar and then come back in after the sequence. If you feel the need to create an audio loop within the Deluge, because sometimes when you have too many synths, it could make the CPU of the device go slower. So what I like to do in this case is isolate that one. So you hold down the this top knob and hold down Shift and click on the sound that you want to isolate, and it will turn blue. Everything else will be kind of like faded. Also, I'm going to go here and make sure that oh wait, is this a little trick that I learned was if I turn the cutoff frequency up a little bit and then record the sequence, I can use that and lower the cutoff and higher it, like lower it or make it go higher as I please, as I choose. So in order to create an audio loop, you're going to hold down record and press play, and then hold down record and press play again before the sequence ends. That way it will create a loop. So now it finished. I'm going to just wait for the, so that turned off. And now we can go ahead and put this up here and just leave that out. So now you hear that I took away, I can even delete this if I want. But actually, I'm gonna just delete this. Now the bass line is gone, but if I want to bring it back because I recorded it, I'm gonna select a new track, hold Shift, Kit, and now you can see that it goes directly into what I recorded. So let's select that. I know that it's an 8-bar loop, so I'm going to click Shift and make it an 8-bar loop. That way it will loop perfectly. Now what I like to do is hold down Shift and click on Mode right here, and it says loop. But instead, what I'm going to do is go to STRE. I think that means stream. This makes it so if I change the BPM of the entire track, it will stay in sync. It will stay on the same tempo. So let's click that. Now you can hear, but it's too loud, so I'm going to turn it down a bit. I'm going to also get the cutoff and go like halfway, pretty much. like here. Introduce the sidechain again. Oh, actually it's a 4-bar loop, so that's my bad. You can see here where it ends. Yeah, right there. There we go. So that's exactly 4 bars. So actually, since this is a kit now and not an actual synth, I'm going to leave inside of the kit itself, I'm going to leave the cutoff all the way up. And in song mode, when I'm holding down the bass line, I can adjust the cutoff from here. That way I won't have 2 separate different cutoffs happening at the same time. And I can adjust it as I please, just in song view, holding on to that track. Also, what I like to do is make sure that you have all of your sounds in an order that you will remember, or you can also color code it, I guess. I think to color code it, you hold down Shift and yeah. So if you want to color code, all you have to do is hold down the track that you want to color, to change the color of, hold down Shift, and this knob right here will change its color. So let's just make this one like red. That way I know that this is my bass drum, and you already can see it. I usually have my kick drum, my snare or hi-hat, percussion, hats, and then my bass line, and then melodic elements at the bottom here, so I know exactly where I'm going to, where my finger and hand will position itself to do like a jam or a session, essentially. So now what I like to do is add open hi-hat or a ride cymbal. So let's go to drums. Let's go back to deep house, drums, and go to ride. I like this one. Let's turn it down like halfway. Take away some of the lower frequencies, so high pass it. EQ. And I go back into song view and turn this down halfway again, or like somewhat halfway. Maybe put some delay. Transpose it down, or just leave it, up to you. But you can also click and system, right where stutter is, but you can pitch it up and down. Add some reverb. Just to add a little bit more flavor. So let's say if you're playing an event and you want to add some more elements to it, you can. You have the opportunity to add more elements this way. So this is how I like to arrange. You can also go to the arranger. So I just pressed on song mode again, and now I'm in the arranger mode, and I can actually go ahead and start arranging. So I don't mind doing it this way. Actually, it's pretty good if you want to arrange the song this way. But I also like to play it live, so when I'm playing it live, I just use the mutes, to be honest. I don't mind the arranger. The only thing I don't really like is it will always start from the beginning. I don't know of a way to skip to start from a different spot. If you don't want to use the arranger, you don't have to. I didn't really learn how to use the arranger that much, to be honest. So I'm just gonna stick to the way I usually do it, and I can see everything here easily. You can also add more to it if you want, but I think I would stop right here unless I wanted to do like a vocal element to it. And you can easily add vocals with the onboard microphone, or if you want to attach a different microphone, you certainly can. So that's how you create the beat, the sandwich, mixed and not mastered, but mixed essentially. The best way to master usually is taking it into a DAW and doing it there, whether you want to stem it out and then do it, or if you want to just do the overall master. I've usually mostly done it like that. So yeah, that's like one of the easiest ways is to just take it the entirety of the song, like the composition, take it in and then master it in a DAW. But there is a compressor, and I will show you in the next video, the next chapter.